What's up, everybody? It's Friday. What's going on? It's me, Erica. We down here. Happy Friday to everybody. We had to take Diva had to take a day off. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then, she needs a day off. So I am down here to just talk about things that's going on in the news. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, maybe a little bit of Beverly Hills Housewives. I did get a chance to watch that. I did not watch New York last night. I know they headed out to the Berkshires, so that should be a good episode. I haven't watched it yet though. So let me find a little place to park here. I don't want to be all in the mix, you know what I'm saying? When I was little, I used to love when I don't know where I would be going with my grandpa, maybe like early in the morning, maybe to go get his cigarettes or go to get something to eat or something, go to get the paper in the morning. But I would love to see all the old Asian people in the park exercising, moving their arms and stuff. I used to be so amazed by that, especially the ones that were doing Tai Chi. And if it was just like one person, I used to be so amazed by that. I used to be like, oh my God, look at these old people out here exercising. Just reminded me because there's this little old Asian man. He's running around the circumference of the basketball courts. Baby, and I tell you, he's not running. He's just like a slow jog, walk, whatever, honey. Keep them muscles going. Keep the juices flowing. They out here. They out here. I love it. Here comes the black ladies. They walk in. I love to see it. But I love especially the old Asian people. I love seeing that. And especially, I guess just old people, period. Just like not sitting down, getting outside, understanding that movement is important for your mind, for your body, for that, emotional, because you feel good after you exercise and you walk a little more. You get the little stuff going, whatever the chemicals that happen when you exercise that make you feel good after you exercise. That's what it is. Let me get my studio together. So I don't know how the scarf is tied. I hope everybody has had a good week. We might come down here tomorrow just to have a conversation about New York, probably the New York Housewives, because I gotta watch that, and anything else that's developing. Yesterday morning, there were reports about Glee star Naya Rivera missing, and I'm like, what? Missing what? What happened? And so when I got the reports, or I was looking at the sheriff's page, and she's in Lake Piru in Ventura County, California, and it was just her and her son. They found her son asleep on the little platoon that they rented. She was supposed to go for a 3-hour rental, and she didn't come back, but they found the little boy asleep on the boat with his life jacket on, but her life jacket was left on the boat, and she's nowhere to be found. So the first thing that came to me, like, as soon as things like that happen, I don't know why, I just sit for a second just to be like, okay, what happened? You know what I mean? And the first thing, I felt like it was some trickery going on. Like, this is not it wasn't an accident. This is not an accident. I felt like, did you guys look at the surveillance cameras? Because did she leave? Did she get out of the boat and leave and go somewhere else and get out of the boat and just leave him there? Then all of a sudden I just saw all of this water, and I was like, oh, my first gut feeling is that she decided to die by suicide, and that she tied something to her ankle. Now, this is just my feeling, okay? This is just how I feel. And like I was telling Charles last night, I think it's some trickery going on. And what I mean trickery, I don't mean like it was an accident. I mean, this is something that happened intentionally. And it was her intention. So I'm like, they need to look in her phone. They need to look up what she looked up. I feel like something is tied to her ankle. And I felt like it was done intentionally. I don't know why. That's just how I feel. I don't feel like it was an accident. I feel like it was something intentional. And then adding to the fact that her life jacket is just him and her. If I were to go on a boat thinking to myself, if I were to go on a boat with my sons, just us three, and I'm the only adult, I would not take a risk at getting in the water without another adult there, leaving them on a boat all by themselves. That's just me. And from what I see, there's no judgment there. That's just what I'm thinking of what I would do. Even if it was just me and one of my children, I would not get into a lake without a life jacket and it's just us two, right? I wonder where her phone is. They said her purse was on board. It doesn't appear to be any foul play. They got on the surveillance shows that they got on the boat by themselves, just them two. But I just don't imagine her getting in the water, leaving her son by himself on the boat while she's like playing in the water without a life jacket. I don't see that. Now, that's not what I see. And everybody can come up with their speculations and things like that. But all I just saw was a lot of water. And I just felt like it was intentional. And like I told Charles, I feel like something is on her ankle to pull her down. It's 30 feet of water. So I don't know how they are going to find her. I hope that they do find her. He's only 4 years old. So memories really start to stick around 3 and 4 years old, where you can kind of jump back to when you were 3 and 4, and you have some memories. He said there were reports that said that the little boy said, well, mommy went swimming, she didn't come back, I was able to get back in the boat. So I don't know why she would take him out without a life jacket. I don't see it being an accident. I see that it was intentional on her part. So we'll see what comes out, how the story develops, but we'll see. A lot of people are upset because they stopped the search around 10 p.m. and didn't start. They said that you could have found her, but you have to keep in mind that if divers are looking their lives, they have to protect their lives as well. They can't risk their lives in trying to look for something where there's zero visibility. It makes absolutely no sense for them to risk their lives doing that when the person is presumed dead. If she's drowned, I say, a lot of people are like, well, you just got to wait for the body to come back up. But I feel like something's on her ankle. I just feel like that. So that's just how I feel. That's things that I saw. And we'll see how the story develops. Let me know what you think. Based on, like I said, based on my experience, I wouldn't leave my kid in the boat and get myself in 30 feet of water in a lake with just us two. If there was another adult there, it would make more sense. Like, oh, she got in the water and she went down and we don't know what happened. Like, you have a 4-year-old who can't really verbalize, unless, there's some 4-year-olds that can really be like, well, mommy got in the water, she said blah blah blah, and that was it, right? So hopefully they can get some, because it's going to be a traumatic experience for him to know when the story is retold to him as he's growing up, that what happened to his mother. And that's we'll see. And last time I looked this morning, there were no updates or reports on that. I just thought it was strange. What did I say to Charles? Yeah, he thinks it was a suicide too. She's a Capricorn. He was like, yeah, he thinks that she intentionally died by suicide. So we'll see. I feel like she tied something to her ankle. That's what I feel like. Like, I want to know what's in the boat. But the night before, which is strange, I had this dream. There was like blood all over the walls. Sorry to get grotesque. So I don't know. That's something else. But I don't feel like it was a foul play either. Where's she going? That's an old lady. What's she trying to do? Oh, she's going to her car. Okay. I'm like, girl, what you trying to do? Okay. Anyway, so what else is going on? So let's talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So they start off where they left off, with Denise and Aaron leaving Kyle's party. They're not wanting her to leave. Lisa Rinna runs out and she's like, what happened? What's crazy was because Lisa Rinna got up, right? She got up to not be included. They were showing a lot of footage that we hadn't seen. So she had got up, her and Garcelle had got up because they didn't want to hear the shit. Now it's crazy because Garcelle and Lisa Rinna got up and left the table because of the way that Aaron was injecting himself. Now, you know how I feel. I feel like there is no, it doesn't matter the person's gender on whether they can be in a verbal altercation with somebody, right? A lot of women do not like when men speak to them because the man can come off more aggressive and start getting aggressive, and the fear of a physical altercation based on someone, you know, not being able to control themselves can happen. So I think that's where that fear comes in. Let me know if that's wrong. If you feel like, what's your reasoning if you agree with that men should not address women? Like, but in this case, I didn't like it, right? Now, when I say it doesn't matter that men address women, I think it's like when Peter said to Nene, the way that you were acting at this charity event, dude, that was crazy. You should not have acted like that. You could have been a little bit more friendly with the microphone. You was really acting out of order. Him saying that to her, I don't see no problem with it. I don't see no problem with it. But when she responded, I don't remember if you guys can remember that time they had the charity event and Nene said, oh, it's great to have friends that you don't even know about. Do you remember that? And then when Peter checked her on her behavior, she felt like he was a man and that he didn't have a position to tell her. That I don't agree with, right? I don't agree with, I think when the people are, I'm trying to explain, like the way that I felt like Aaron was injecting himself, not in a way he was being aggressive. He was being combative. And that's why Teddy and Erica were like, he knows what he's doing. Well, if you guys can look in the mirror about yourselves and this and that. And then Denise kept saying he deals with people with cancer. So I guess she's saying because he deals with people who may or may not have a terminal illness, this kind of stuff is silly. What we're arguing about is silly. This is stupid. If I tell you that I don't want my kids around you, I can say that. And whether or not you are offended because you feel like you're, number one mom, PTA mom, whatever you feel about yourself, with Denise saying she doesn't want her kids around you guys because you guys do not know how to talk in front of children, you could be mad all day about Denise, but Denise does not have to change how she feels about it. Is it going overboard? Is her behavior not matching what she's saying? It's not, because you're saying you're not mad, but you're being a little passive aggressive with how you are continuously approaching this topic. It's very like, oh no, I'm not, it's just my kids but I think that they're going to beat it over Denise's head. Kyle, Teddy, it's more Kyle than anybody. Lisa is like, I know Denise is full of shit. That's why I'm getting up and walking away. I don't give a damn. Girl, I know that's you and it's really not your kids. And it's really her. It's really her. As we can see the video, because her kids are like, whatever. And it's her. And I know everybody's going to be like, well, and that's her prerogative. Yes, that is her prerogative. But she's not communicating it with truthfulness. She's saying it doesn't bother her. She's also putting it on her kids. And that's what a lot of people do. Whether they're anti-gay, anti-woman, anti-black, they always put it on the kids because it's easier to let it go if it's, oh, well, it's because of the kids and I'm trying to protect the kids. I don't want the kids to see it. We need to make sure the kids understand. And these are teenagers. And yes, again, she has every right to say, I don't want you around my kids because I don't want my kids' friends going back saying that these adults are having adult inappropriate conversations that are inappropriate for children around these children. I understand where Denise is coming from, and I understand where the other women are coming from, because they have an idea in their head of who they are as a mother, and society makes women feel guilty or ashamed for not being a number one or 100% mom, right? So they're carrying that. You're saying I'm a bad mom. Oh my God, society. If you say I'm a bad mom, society is going to look at me wrong, and I can't give you that. That's not the role that if anything I do well, it's being a mom, right? That's what Kyle says. That's the thing I do the best. And now you're saying because you don't want my kids, that's a reflection on me as a mother. So I don't like that, how that looks. So I'm going to beat you in the head until you admit I'm not a bad mom. I am a good mom. It's almost like they want to be affirmed by Denise. And I don't know why Denise's refusal to be for her kids to be around them is so important. Like, I don't get why it's so important for them. But again, Denise is not communicating with truthfulness. She's not, because it wasn't her kids, it was her, but she's putting it on her kids, and we've seen it over and over again. So I don't know if she was saying that he deals with people with cancer for that reason, like this shit is stupid, like why are we talking about that? Aaron doesn't have to deal with this stuff. However, you keep bringing Aaron around as your buffer because you want him to be your pit bull. You want him to be your German Shepherd. You want him to walk with you by your side and look behind your back just in case somebody has anything to say. You're bringing him and then you're leaving him amongst the women. And, I don't like the way that he was talking to them. It was very condescending. It was very much mansplaining. Because at first I was like, are they overreacting? I just didn't like his energy. He was being combative for his wife, and great. But we don't need, the energy was just too much, Aaron. And then you keep talking about it. Shut your ass up, right? And then for you to be talking to Erica like, what did he say to Erica? And she was like, I don't give a fuck. She said. And that's partially the reason why people don't like men and women to get into verbal altercations. Because a woman, she knows, let me tell you something about women. A woman knows that she cannot physically fight a man. Some men. Most men, right? She knows that. So what do most women learn how to do? We learn how to slit your throat with our words. So we can say something to you. So because we can't physically fight you, so we're going to use the strength of our tongue to beat your ass. And what happens when that happens? Men don't like to be talked to any kind of way, because a woman should know her position, right? And don't talk to me crazy, because I can turn around and lose my temper and feel like you are emasculating me. And then I turn around and show you my masculine and hit you. Right? That's what everybody is afraid of. Because a woman, and I've heard men say to me, God, girl, you got a razor blade underneath your tongue. Yes, and be lucky I don't pull it out the side of my cheek like Tupac on Above the Rim and slit your motherfucking throat. And that's just what it is. Because I know I can't fight you. But I'm going to say, nigga, what the fuck? Who the fuck are you talking to, crazy? I'm going to say that. And I'm going to say something real crazy to you to make you feel the punch that I would feel if we were to get into a physical altercation. You're going to feel the punch. It's going to be like, hey, Kool-Aid coming through the door. You're going to feel the punch, my nigga. You hear me? And that's just what it is. And I think a lot of men cannot take it, right? They want to shut you up by because men don't need the words. They don't need the words to verbalize their disagreement, or they can't verbally, not too many men can verbally battle with a woman. Not too many of them. Not too many. Not too many. And that's just what it is. And I didn't like that Aaron was doing that. So that's my difference. Like the difference in Peter saying something to Nene and her Nene jumping to, oh, men can't talk to women. Heavenly does that shit too. Men, yes, they can talk to women, and men and women can have disagreements, because it's illogical to believe that a woman has to go through her whole life and a man can go through their whole life and not have a disagreement, a verbal disagreement with somebody who is not their partner. It's unrealistic to even believe that humans can do that. And why do you put that restriction? Like, okay, so I can't talk to you. I have to go to my husband or to my partner to say, can you talk to him because he said something to me? What? No, I'm gonna say, I don't know what Erica says. We could fucking get it started. What did she say to him? I don't give a fuck. Whatever you got to say. Anyways, so what happened after that? Let's see. Hold on. Let me get my little notes here. Denise needs to be honest. I'm glad they're showing the videotape of her daughter saying it's not a big deal. And that's what everybody's like. Those are Denise's children. She can have them around anyone that she wants or not to have them around. Period. Can they be offended? Yes, they can, because they have an idea about themselves in their head that Denise, with Denise's actions, go against what they feel like they look like. So now they're defending that. That's what they're defending. They're not defending. They don't care that Denise's children are going to come around or not. It makes them look a certain way, and that they're more concerned about looking a certain way than you potentially having an inappropriate conversation in front of some teenagers. That's where the problem is. So they're going to beat her in the head until she changes her idea or her stance on them coming around. They're not, and she has every right to. I know y'all like, we get in the comments like she has yes, Denise has every right to. Do they have every right to be offended? Yeah, because again, when do people get into defense mode? When you are, ooh, there's a bee, honey. When they have said something about you and other people are hearing around, and you can potentially change the perception of that people have of this person, they're going to jump up and defend themselves, because they don't want your words or your actions to dictate how other people see them. So they're going to defend themselves. That's just how it is. Now, are they going to beat them like I'm beating y'all in the head, saying the same shit over and over again? That's what they're going to do with Denise. That's what they're going to do with Denise. I don't like Aaron talking to them the way he was talking to them, because it was like, and then I don't know what event they were, where they all were standing around and Denise walked away and she was like, oh my God, I walked away. I can't believe. Yeah, you left him there on purpose. You left him there so he can get those bitches together, because he doesn't like none of them anyway. So you don't give a damn what he says to them, because sometimes some women will say, don't say nothing to them. But she did not say that. Well, she acted like, did she say? She acted like she didn't want him to say anything. You left him there on purpose, Denise. Denise ain't slick. Denise ain't slick. She's not slick. What happened to that? What happened after that? Dorit. I don't care about her closet. I think I was in and out of that. Dorit, whatever. What else happened after that? Oh, they're taking Denise's daughter is learning how to drive. That was cute. And that's what Denise was saying about Aaron being around, being that figure, that kind of father figure where, you know, the girls have somebody to take them to go driving and stuff like that. Even though she can do it or hire somebody to do it, that for her is why she loves Aaron so much, because this is what she needs from him as a partner. I did watch Garcelle speak on it with Candy. She really seems like a girl's girl. I haven't heard any thing about Garcelle acting funny with people. She did say that her and Kyle have some issues, and I think the way that she described it was that here's this black woman coming into this group. Black people are very sensitive about how we are treated amongst white groups, right? So she felt like the women were walking on eggshells around her because they didn't want to do anything to be attacked by Black Twitter. And girl, at least Kyle has enough awareness. She was like, I just wish that they would have said that, because they weren't really kind of, I guess, you know, getting deep with Garcelle, because they were afraid, like, if I say anything wrong, the blacks, they gonna come after me. Y'all right. Y'all absolutely right. And that's the only reason why your actual viewership numbers are going up, because black people are watching because of Garcelle. I mean, and more black people are watching, right? Because we've always watched Beverly Hills Housewives. So, but more people are watching because Garcelle is on. So I had to put the air on. Shit, it's hot, and I didn't get under a tree. Anyways, what else is happening? Garcelle talked about her father. I see a lot of similarities between myself and Garcelle in raising two boys. I see a lot of things. Her sons are around the same age. My son is about to be 13, y'all. Yes, on Sunday, on the 12th, my cancer baby. He's about to be 13 years old. Yesterday, he was like, I'm about to be a teenager. And I was like, yes, you are. I can't believe it. Me, Erica, has a teenager child. Can you believe it? Girl, I can't myself. I can't. I'll be looking at him like, and he's taller than me. He's just, I'm a half an inch taller than him. He's just waiting. He keeps, every time I'm standing at the stove or at the refrigerator, anywhere, here he come next to me, trying to put his shoulders, you know, trying to see he's taller than me. Yes, you will be taller than me, but let me remind you, let me remind you, when the Lord said, here's your parents, here's your mama, they picked the right one. So as tall as you get, baby, you just understand the universe picked the right mama for you. Trust and believe me. But yes, 13 years old. I got a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. And he'll be 12 in January. So my little monsters are growing up. Isn't that crazy? That is so crazy. Anyways, yes. So I understand. I'm looking at her sons. They're the same age as my kids. But she said it was important for her to have the father around, and she had to get over the parts where he, and she did go back. That's what she said. I think she did say that to Candy, that she did go back because she tried to make it work so the kids could have two parents. And sometimes that's not whether you think that's good for the children or not, it's not good for you, because now you're allowing them to witness you be in an unhappy space in order to make them happy. And it's not fair for any child to watch their parent grow up watching their parents or parent be miserable. Because, and then when you think about it, as they get older and you're like, and they start understanding adult relationships and marriages and things like that, and like, you actually stayed with my father so that we can be in a household with two parents, but y'all always were fighting. You were very resentful. You seemed miserable. You did all of that for me. And now you're actually like putting that guilt on a child, where it's like, you stayed for me and you were so unhappy. It's like, to me, there's no honor in that. There's no honor. I know a lot of people think that it's honorable to stay with somebody that you're unhappy with so that your children can grow up in a two-parent home. But there's nothing honorable about that. And what's honorable is honoring yourself and serving yourself so that you can be the best person for your children and be happy and not hold resentment or be arguing with another person all day long, and them not understanding, like, this is not normal. The way that my parents are relating to each other is not normal. You want your children to be able to witness people, yes, having conflict, because it will happen. But being able to resolve that with intelligence, right? Being able to communicate, or if you are being affectionate to your partner, children should see that, right? To see love and affection. And yes, like I said, conflict happens, but to watch people resolve conflict. How do my parents resolve conflict? Are they calling each other names? Are they being degrading to each other? Because then they're going to think that that's okay, and they're going to take that into their relationships with their friends. Listen to how your children talk to their friends, because what they're doing is mimicking you and how you're relating to your partner. And if it's unhealthy, all you're doing is learning them unhealthy ways to relate to other people. And so sometimes being a single person, a happy single person, is more beneficial than having two people in the home who are demonstrating behaviors that are counterproductive in life. And that's just what it is. So I do identify, when I watch her, identify with how she deals with her sons and how she feels like, her father abandoning her, and then her mother losing the letter that her father wrote her when he was on his deathbed, I guess. So she was like, I'll never know how my father feels about me. And a lot of and I was watching Salkees Ray, somebody recommended her when I asked for femininity channels, and she was talking about how a lot of women are just really looking for that affirmation or that confirmation that you are pretty, you are pickable, you are choosable. And I think when a lot of girls look for that first to be affirmed from their father. That's why I was so upset with what was happening with Reginae. Like the person who is supposed to affirm you and supposed to be like, yes, this is you, is your dad. And for somebody to sit there and be talking about women like her and her father not reaffirm that, yes, my daughter is beautiful, that kind of goes in the same thing. But that's what she's looking for. And sometimes when a girl does not get that from her father, she goes and looks for that affirmation and that confirmation from other men who really don't care about her enough to really give her that confirmation that she needs, right? But then, like, stepping away from that need to be affirmed and confirmed by somebody, that's something else that I'm just going to have to look into more and study a little bit more, because the idea of divesting from vanity is what she was talking about, and I'll share the video. It's a new concept for me, and I don't know if it's actually new that I've actually acknowledged it, but to divest from vanity will also keep you from getting into relationships with people where they're telling you things only to get something from you, where it's transactional. And if you weren't waiting for somebody to tell you, oh, you're so pretty, or oh, you're this, you're not looking for those affirmations from other people when you don't get it from your parental figure. Child, know I went down a little rabbit hole, but that's why a lot of women go to, and it's crazy because I think about my relationships with men and how I was relating when I was in my 20s, and then how I related to men, even though in my mind I kept telling myself, like I told myself I was a daddy's girl. So I was from a young age lying to myself, not realizing like you're really not a daddy's girl, but you are claiming that you are, because that makes you feel like you have a man who actually fucks with you on that level, like a daddy's girl. And when I look back and step outside of myself and look back into myself, I realized, no, you weren't a daddy's girl. That was helping yourself. But then you went looking for those confirmations and affirmations in other men. Now, whether I wanted to partner with those men, whether I was just looking for whatever it was, that is like, you weren't a daddy's girl. And it went into the way that you chose your men, because when I look back at my diary and my journal and the day that I met my son's father, I said he reminds me of my father. And because I lied to myself all those years, I thought that this person who was just like my father was going to be good for Erica. And that my father, when I turn back and I look and I go through therapy and all that stuff, you lied to yourself about that relationship. So all the relationships that you had with men, there was some skewed idea about this person. He's like your father, yes, but your father is not the type of man that you actually want to marry, young lady. That's not a man that you actually want to partner with, that type of man, right? And when I look back and I'm like, I wrote, he reminds me of my father. And for me, that was a plus, but it really wasn't a plus because I was going on a lie. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Okay. And that's real. Like, that shit is real. When you actually, let me tell you something. There's nothing better to go back and read your journals, get into therapy. Therapy it helps you actually, for somebody to actually allow you to just talk through your things. Honestly, if you find yourself lying to your therapist, baby, you got to start all over again, because this is somebody who is going to help you. And when I realized, girl, you was lying to yourself about your relationship with your father. Yes, you guys went everywhere together. Yes, while you were on those rides and trips together, he was telling you stories and different things. You're thinking he's putting you up on game, but he's really just talking in this real misogynistic manifesto is really what I was being fed. And it was always serve the man. I know this and turn to something else. Serve the man over your own needs, right? My father has even given me advice to say, don't ever deny your partner sex because he'll go get it from someone else. You don't tell your daughter that. That's not something you give to your daughter. You never tell your children to put someone else's needs above their own, right? That's not something that serves your child, a female child at that, to tell her, don't deny a man sex, because that will, he will go looking for it somewhere else. And I'm thinking to myself, how does that correlate when is the reason why you're the way you are is because your partner is not giving you sex? Why are you giving this advice to a young woman? Like, that's some misogynistic shit. But me thinking, oh, I'm sitting on the side of my dad, any attention is good attention, I realized that that was how I was approaching relationships with other men, right? The attention, whether it was good or bad or indifferent, a little bit of attention, I was like, oh, yes, attention. But if you were really being fed by your father figure with saying, don't look for men to affirm who you are. Don't look for men to tell you you're pretty so you can feel good about yourself. Don't look, because half of the time, and they're telling you you're pretty and all that stuff, they're looking for something in return. Now, he did tell me there ain't nothing for free. Right? But he never told me, like, there's just things that I look at like, okay, it was always to serve the man before myself. And when I look back on relationships, all of them served the man over myself. I was always serving the man, waiting for somebody in jail. Like, who would give their daughter advice like that? My dad did. My father gave me advice to wait for somebody in jail because I wouldn't want that done to me. Right? So that do unto others as you want people to do unto you. And then not only that, but lie about it. So wait for the nigga in jail. But when people ask you where he is, tell the people that he's in Iraq or Afghanistan. Like, really help your daughter come up with this lie. Yeah. Yes, child. Yes. And instead of telling your daughter, okay, daughter, I know you're pregnant by this guy. You have shared with me that he does not have a high emotional intelligence. You have been able to witness his low emotional intelligence, and yet and still you encourage her to wait for him while he's in jail. And then when he comes out of jail, he's physically abusive to her. And then you even tell her, I knew he was going to be physically abusive to you. I knew it. So much to the point where when he was physically abusive, the father or the brother never came out to see about the daughter that was being physically abused. Never. So you see, there's a whole cycle here. And it's really that, when I would think about that, now I'm talking about it, I'm not as mad as I used to get, thinking about like, these motherfuckers set me up for failure, girl. Set your ass up for failure. And was really like encouraging that. Like, there's no way in the world, don't you ever advise your child to wait for a motherfucker in jail. Never. Ever. Ever. Don't you ever do that. Because that's not serving your child over. Always put your child first. Always let them know, make the decision that serves you first. Had I gone that, now I probably wouldn't have had a second child from him. It might have been because I've always had two, as my past life readings told me. So he was going to come regardless. But the idea that you encourage your daughter to do that, and then not only that, that you're so ashamed that you told your daughter to do that you concocted a lie so that she can tell her co-workers, she can tell her family, he's in Afghanistan. No, that nigga's in jail. He's in the reserves. And can you imagine, instead of saying, daughter, no, leave that nigga, let that nigga go to jail, you better off without him. Instead of you tell your daughter, wait for him because you would want somebody to do that for you. Girl. No. Never again. Never again. Anyways, I didn't talk too much, y'all. That was a little bit about New York. What is it called? Beverly Hills Housewives. Let's get back down in the comments. I'm going to come back and do, because what was Sutton talking about? Sutton was talking about her man, how she met her man. That was an episode before. Anyways, y'all, let's get down in the comments. I'll come back tomorrow talking a little bit more about Beverly Hills, and then we'll talk about New York tomorrow, okay? You guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Oh, and I'll leave the video. I'll share the video of Selki's. She's my type of girl. She is my type of girl. She's my type of, like I said, chew it and spit out the bones. Everything is not for everybody. Every single word, adjective, pixel is not going to be for you. You take what you want out of it, apply it to your life, and see how it changes, or taking the approach that she is suggesting that women take. I actually just asked her if she had any videos about single mothers raising black sons and black girls, because if you are talking about divesting from this idea of centering yourself around men, when you have boys, you have to have a different approach. So I'm trying to see what the approach is, or what her suggestive approach is on that. But anyways, that's it, y'all. Take care of each other. Let's get down in the comments, and we'll talk. Peace.